Good morning. Today you're probably logged in on this video because you want to enjoy the waterfall trip that we're going to take, me and my son. And it's going to be a fantastic trip. But what better way to start than by a good cup of coffee? It is mandatory as far as I'm concerned. But our plan is now to take a trip around the Doi Inthanon. It is the highest mountain in Thailand, and we're going to do that counterclockwise, and we are planning to see 6, 7, maybe even 8 waterfalls. But how it's going to play out, we never know. I never know. Usually the trips that I take, they never go the way that I plan. But I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting trip, and it's probably also going to be very inspiring for you if you ever want to visit Thailand. And we are obviously also going to go camping. So stay tuned to see how it looks like in this area. All right. We have arrived at the first waterfall on a waterfall hunting trip. And this waterfall is called Maya. And it is on the left hand side when you start on the Doi Inthanon loop, and it's about 16 kilometers off track, you could say. But for obvious reasons, most of the waterfall are not exactly on the road. You've got to do some small detours. But this is one of the most beautiful ones, and it is in the national park, so you've got to pay a park fee to get in there. But it was not that expensive. I think it was about $10, $9 a person, and 50 cents to get the motorbike in, as far as I remember, 60 cents. So yeah, now we're out here.
Finally, we have arrived at our campsite. This is one of my favorite campsites when I'm at Doi Inthanon. I'm not really aware if there are many other campsites. I know there is one or two other campsites not that far away from here either. But this one is really nice. We are in a pine forest and been living in Thailand for years. And coming from Scandinavia, I can tell you that I really sometimes miss the scent of pine trees. So to get up here in the Doi Inthanon area, as you can see here, and set up camp in pine tree forest, that is a treat. Really like it. It is not a very quiet area. That being said, there's nobody really camping here right now, but there are some guests up at some accommodation up behind here. So the only noise we have is a few motorbikes every now and then passing through, and then obviously we got the cicadas. It's going to be interesting how much noise they're going to make tonight. But we went, as you've probably seen in the video, that has not, as I'm speaking, been made yet, but we plan to do. Been visiting 4 different waterfalls, and they were voluminous, to say the least. It is the rainy season. It's not usually the time of the year that I do this hike or this bike trip, because when you get in the altitude, it is just too misty, too cold, too miserable, and too wet, and there's nothing much to go for because the view is not good. But we have been very, very lucky. It's been a crystal clear day, few clouds in the skies, everything been perfect. So we've set up camp here at Doi Inthanon, and I think we're somewhere around 1900, 2000 meters altitude, which again means that we're probably gonna be without any mosquitoes. I know my son will love that. And then the plan is tomorrow to go up and see the summit of Doi Inthanon, and maybe even get to film the sunrise. We're going to see a very famous temple that has been made not that long ago in honor of the king, His Majesty, and the Queen. And then we'll continue north. We ended up doing the trip clockwise, despite the fact that the idea from the beginning was to do it counterclockwise, but I kind of forgot to make the turn in the right place. So anyway guys, just to show you how it looks like here, I'll give you a quick tour. If I can get out of my lounger here. Oh, that hurts. This is my lounger. As you will probably see, that's the hammock that I also use for all my luggage once I get to sleep. And up under my DD tarp, you can see in my snakeskin I got my Hennessy hammock tucked away. Just makes for a very convenient space to relax and chill. Then we got my son. He used to have this tarp that we set up along with the Hennessy hammock, but it proves very little sufficient when it starts to rain, so we've done it differently. And he's got this used 3 by 3.5 meter tarp, and I'll give you a little review on my underquilt later on, but this is the underquilt I made for it. And as you can see, he does use the same system. Hammock up here, used for all the goods, so we have it all away from the ground. Say hello. 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 So yeah, there you are. We got a few minibuses here. I suspect that they've just been delivering people up for the accommodation and just waiting for them. But a very nice area, very quiet, if we do not take the cicadas into consideration. And when we're talking about cicadas, I don't know how many people of you know that, but we got some leftover cicadas there. Now that's because these larvae, they bury themselves deep in the ground by the bottom of the tree, like down there. And then once they reach a certain stage in their life, they just crawl out of the ground, and then they crawl up the tree, and they keep on crawling all the way up to a point like this. and then like this. Let me see if I can catch it there. And then they just latches themselves onto the trees, and just like a larvae becomes a butterfly, then this one becomes a cicada. So it kind of just breaks out of the shell there. I don't know if it's possible to see that on the movie, but on the back of it there, it just breaks out. So, and the trees here are littered with them. Let's just take a look over here too. I've just been brushing a few down from one tree because I needed the space. There you have another one right there. Oh, just go down a little bit. There you are. So they are everywhere. So yeah, anyway guys, tonight we're not going to do much. I suspect we'll just go down visiting one of the restaurants in the neighborhood here and just to have some dinner. Entering the Doi Inthanon National Park is a 300 baht plus 20 baht for the motorbikes. I think it's a 50 baht bill if you are with a car. And that gives you access to the park for a full day. But if you are camping like we're doing it right now, then that 320 baht actually covers 2 or 3 days depending on how long you're camping. And the reason why that is important is because if you, for instance, travel out of the national park to go see the Mae Klang waterfall, for instance, then that is just on the outside of the gate. But because you got the ticket, you can go in there for free. If you go as we did it, visited Mae Ya waterfall in the beginning, you pay the entrance fee for that waterfall. But once you got that, you got access to the rest of the park as well. It doesn't matter if you go in and out, as long as it is on that same day. But if you're, as we're doing here, camping, then they're justified to use that very same ticket for 2 or maybe even 3 days. That's at least what the ladies told me. But I've always been camping up here, and I've never had any issues going out and coming back again. Like the viewpoint, for instance, you also have to exit the national park gates to get to the viewpoint, and obviously if you want to go back to your tent, you have to enter again, but you do not pay one more time. So yeah, that is going to be our camp for at least tonight. If it's going to be for another night, that remains to be seen. Dinner time. Left the camp, just let the hammock and the tarp be there. Brought the most important things with her. And there's a small restaurant not far from the place where you have to sign in if you want to use the camping site. And it's a huge one. I'm not sure how good the food is. It is a bit on the pricey end, especially for the more elaborate dishes. But my son, he loves pad kapao. And I must say, I love pad kapao too until he came down here about a month and a half ago. Now, I'm not so sure. That kid eats pad kapao every day. So I prefer a Thai traditional breakfast dish, which is rice soup. And this one they made with an egg in it. I love it that way. Anyway, dinner time. Good morning. It's been a long night. I was not sleeping very well. I'm not quite sure why that is, but I've had better nights. We had some thunder, we had some bad weather up north of where we are. We were hoping that tonight would give us some rain as well. We didn't get that. The temperature shed about 13 degrees in the night time, and I think it was just about that, but in my hammock it was too hot. I had to take off my down jacket because it was too hot. It didn't make me more happy to hear my son sleeping already after 5 minutes, bunking in, snoring like a baby. But today the plan is to go up to the mountain to view the view up there, and we were kind of planning on doing it for the sunrise, but since the temple we're going to look at too is opening at 8 o'clock, there's no reason for us to rush up there that early. So sorry, we got some ants running around here. We will be doing that now.
Where everything looks hunky-dory. So we finally made it up here, and it is a very cold ride, but this is what I really like about Thailand. You can have a fantastic, hot, beautiful summer, and then you're just doing a 50-60 kilometers ride and you are at the summit, Mount Doi Inthanon, and this is the highest point at the place. But this you gotta know. We are 2,565 meters point something above the main. Yeah, we are at above the mean sea level. I suppose that with the different kind of weathers coming in, the sea can be a little bit mean. But this is the view, and there really ain't any view up here. So it shouldn't be for the sake of the view you should go. That would be a mistake. But if you like to have a cool ride, if you like to go see the view on the way, as you also can see in the video, then it's a good place to go. It really is. And we got the military base right over there, which means we cannot deploy our drones, as you see on the sign. But I suspect the weather is not really that good for scenic views anyway. We just passed a coffee shop. There's a small coffee shop over here and also toilet facilities, but this time of the day it's closed, so we'll probably just take a ride down again and find another place to enjoy a morning coffee. It's only 7 AM this morning, but let's just take a quick look around here. They say that was a summit, but this is a few steps up, so it's not literally the summit. Just for the record, even though that we're here out on a very nice campsite, always a good idea to keep your eyes open. I mean, just because there are garbage cans and there are toilet facilities and the area seems groomed quite nicely for us to camp without having any hassle, there still might be critters out there who are out to kill you, or at least give a shot at it. Just take a look at this here. Let me just see here, down there. There is a
nest of ants. Look at that. And they are ferocious. I was unaware of it because, as you noticed before I poked in there, there's really not much to see. Once you step your feet down in the nest, they come crawling out and they bite. They bite like a pretty bad bee sting. I gotta tell you that much. So just a little heads up. It is about 5 minutes ago, still hurts. Camping at camping sites is just fantastic. I mean, I'm normally camping out in the jungle and I have to fight to find proper spaces to do the camping, and the perfect spot really never exists. So it's always a compromise of safety, of movability, and the right trees for my hammock, and being close proximity of my kayak if I'm out with that one. But when you're out in a place like this, you got toilet facilities. Well, let me just show you a little bit around if you should go to Doi Inthanon and camp out here. So this is how it looks like. Fortunately now they turned off the light. Oh, we can turn it on like this. Very nice facilities, very, very clean. You have the sinks here, you can do some washing. We even got handicap facilities here for showering. But note, there's no heating, which means it is whatever the temperature is in this country, and it might be a little bit cold. Then we got the whole hallway down here, and we got, I don't know if we can see it in the darkness, we got regular toilets, nice and clean. We got shower rooms, it's a bit dark. We also got Thai toilets. I don't know if you can see that, guys, but that's a normal squatter. So it is very, very nice. But what I also like to show you is, that's it. Get some light here. Yeah. So that's the toilet. Nothing fancy about that. But what I wanted to show you was, when you're visiting toilets here in Thailand, in the wild. Now in a place like this, the likelihood of having any issues is very, very, very slim to, I would say, probably non-existing. But just to make a good habit out of a little rule here, I would say always flush. Because if we're looking down a toilet like this, then up here where the water is coming up from, up on the rim here, that is a place that a lot of critters, they find themselves very attracted to. And it does happen every now and then that one of these rims there are being host for snakes or other critters you really do not want to sit on if you go there. So the first thing you go to a toilet and do the flushing. Now for the man's area, it is quite simple. Just these boots here and flush out. So yeah, just wanted to show you how that looks like on a nice campsite, which is actually quite good maintained. Turn off the light again. Anyway, it's been a good night. Didn't get that much sleep as I mentioned before, and the weather has become overcast. It makes for probably better photos, really. But we will continue today hunting waterfalls, and we will definitely go for some. We'll have at least 2 waterfalls. We will have a little surprise, and then we'll see if nature also has surprises for us. We also got dogs here. Yeah. So they learn each other very easy, very well. Oh, นิสัยดีนะ You've been in fighting before, huh? Yeah, you have been fighting before. final waterfall on our trip, maybe. We still got some 40-50 kilometers left as far as I know. But this waterfall, I'm not quite sure. I'll write it in the video, but this waterfall here is very special. Yesterday we visited 4 of them. We're driving the loop clockwise. We had a beautiful one this morning where you only can see the bottom part of it when you go close to the waterfall, but on distance you can see the whole part of it. But this one was really the reason why I thought taking a trip and do waterfall hunting in the Doi Inthanon was interesting. Because I visited this particular waterfall 12-13 years ago. And though I had the picture of it, I forgot all about where it was. And I visited in the dry season. So after some research, asking somebody on Facebook whether they knew it based on the photos I took back then finally I found out where it was. Now, as we were driving clockwise on this trip, and I usually drive that trip counterclockwise, I actually thought I had passed it already. So when we about 10 minutes ago finally saw it, I was happy. So this is the real reason for me, well, one of the biggest reasons anyway, to take this loop, and I'm really happy to bring you along.
Now that was a good trip. We've got about a 2 hours drive yet before we're home, so we decided just to lie down in a small hammocks here and chill out, relax, and absorb the whole experience. No cameras in the world are able to really capture the essence of what we were out seeing here with these 6 waterfalls. So it can only be kind of an inspiration for you to go out there and visit them yourselves. And I hope the video really made that impression, because they were beautiful waterfalls, especially the last one. Now, we didn't do it as planned. We didn't do the counterclockwise trip, but we got the best, as far as I'm concerned anyway, best waterfall at the end. But if you have any ideas, suggestions as to both how to do it better, present the video better, or even have places you'd like to see in Thailand, then comment about it. Tell me about it in the comments, because I've been here for so many years that there's so many things I take for granted. And I realize that in particular when I'm out with my son on these trips, because when we go out see things, all of a sudden he stops his motorbike and I'm thinking, what are you doing? And go back to him, and it turns out that there's something he sees that he never sees in Denmark, and he gets fascinated about it and he wants to see it. And to me, been living here for more than 13 years, a lot of things that might be special and a lot of things that people might pay money for to go down and enjoy and to see in Thailand has become so much everyday life for me. So if you got any ideas, any suggestions, just hit the comment button down there. Anyway, and also hit the like button and hit the subscribe button if you want to have more information from Thailand without having to look too much for it. I'll do my best to make it very interesting. But as it stands right now, we're just chilling, relaxing, enjoying ourselves for a half an hour before we'll take the last 2 hours of driving home. So until next time, stay curious, stay adventurous, and stay eager to learn more.